coach. Some of it you can see what you do on a day-to-day basis. Some of it you don't do, and some of it for you to potentially actually think about in terms of maybe bringing into your skill set as a coach. I thought this was nice quote about the coach-athlete relationship. As the simplest form, coaching concerns two people, the coach and the athlete. These two people form a unique dynamic relationship that holds a great deal of power and allows its members to achieve individual and relationship goals. There's an abundant anecdotal and empirical evidence to highlight that neither the coach nor the athlete can do it alone. They both need one another to achieve in sport. If you look at the three pictures that I put up with the three different scenarios of the coach-athlete, each of them tells a different story, but again, the relevance of that, no matter what level they're at, is certainly very, very relevant. This girl, the first person, Jowett, is Sophie Jowett. She does a lot. She's a sports psychologist based in Loughborough, and she does a lot of writings on this in terms of the coach-athlete relationship. So some of the stuff that I have the whole way along is taken from her. It's quite extensive, and she obviously has done a lot of research with other academics as well. But it's very, very endearing, but also very, very good. This is taken from the Canadian Olympic study after the Beijing Olympics 2008, and basically it was a review which most governing body or most Olympic councils would do, and basically it was the Canadian Olympic Council asking what the athletes thought in relation to their relationship with their coach. Some of it is very, very good in terms of their approach in terms of the performance aspect of what they were trying to aspire to for the Beijing Olympics, not just for there, but obviously probably preceding it as well. So it was an extensive report, but again, it goes to show you what the athlete thought of their coach in each of these instances in terms of what they actually brought to the table in terms of their position as a coach and what they tried to help them achieve once they're competing at that level. So some really good stuff on that. Obviously very, very positive from an array of different sports between rowing, athletics, sailing, cycling. I think there was 8 to 10 athletes that were actually asked for their input, and this is just a snapshot of what they had to say about their coaches. What we believe, Sports New Zealand, I love everything that's New Zealand based in terms of their approach to sport. We'll pick up on something that Ben said about the rugby aspect, and this is taken from their Better Lives in terms of what they're trying to achieve for kids that are involved in sport. Young people need balance rather than pressurizing them to perform. They'll do better if we encourage them to play, to explore a range of sports, to develop a range of skills, creativity, and decision making. If they're to become high performance athletes, they need time and encouragement to develop more than their physical ability. We must also support their social and emotional, cognitive, and spiritual needs. At Sport New Zealand, we call it physical literacy too. I just thought it was fantastic because it's one of the things that I've looked at as a coach where I would have been very performance based to the approach now where I look it's more holistic based. Not everyone's going to be a performance athlete. You can't be pushing that parameter. If it happens within your own group dynamic, fantastic that you have that athlete or athletes who want to make that achievement, fine. You are going to get a whole lot that aren't going to be performance athletes, alright, but there's still a place for them within your program, and I just love the approach from this and what their focus was and the objective was, or the vision was from Sport New Zealand, because I think they were looking at it from the holistic development, but also the aspect of time. There's no aspect of winning, there's aspects of performance, absolutely, but there's a whole lot of other aspects that are very, very important in terms of developing these young people, and I think that's the part that's missing from the coaching aspect at the minute. From a personal perspective, it's something I've been working on more and more and appreciate more as I got older as a coach. This is taken from Sport England, and again just leading on from what Sport New Zealand said, and basically they released something in 2015, a paper around the 6 personalities of the youth, or youth personalities. But I just thought it was very, very interesting in terms of, as coaches, who are you coaching? Okay, you probably will find all the people that you coach and the young people that you coach, all right, they're one of these. All right, they're one of these. They might be playing your sport, involved in your team, but they have different priority aspects. Okay, and if you focus in on the one on the left-hand corner, the sports enthusiasts, the one that stands out is look at the percentage. Okay, and it goes back to what I said about the holistic development of what you're trying to do. You're going to have those 10% potentially within your training setup. Okay, are just going to be they're crazy about doing everything to the letter, where you're going to have other ones who are potentially going to be these 5 personalities, okay, that you're trying to encompass with these guys here, your sports enthusiasts, all right, and trying to obviously get them in a better place from performance perspective. And with these other 5, all right, different things are important to them, not necessarily what it is that you feel is important to you. They may be there for your sport for a different reason. All right, so I just thought it was very interesting in terms of how they were looking at it, more importantly, from a coaching perspective, how you have to try to have maybe different personalities, almost your own 6 personalities, okay, and actually dealing with all these different characters that you have. If you have a football team of 15, there's a good chance that you have, you have 6 divided by 15. You're going to be working with little batches of 2.5 to 3 people, maybe 4 and 2, or even 1. And how you actually deal with them as a coach within your own environment. So I just thought it was very interesting in terms of that as a coach looking at how you potentially approach and deal with those athletes that you actually have and who they actually are. I took the sports enthusiast percentage, okay, and just looked at the different areas that as coaches, how are you coaching in terms of what you're trying to do in order to get the best out of them. Now, granted, you're more than likely going to potentially work on the sports enthusiast, which is the smallest percentage, okay. These are the different areas in terms of, they put it down to attract their attention, delivering against their expectations, and keep them coming back, okay. And then it's subtitled again in terms of, competency, working hard, having fun, the social aspect, the atmosphere as well, playing hard, but also have potentially a sense of achievement, okay, and then, supporting them continuously to improve, how often do you say well done to your athletes, or do you take one on the side and say good job, well done, you were awesome today. You might do it within a group environment, but then sometimes from time to time you might do it within an individual environment if someone needs that pep up, or maybe you don't do it at all. You're that angry from the session. Help them achieve emotional highs, and I think it was very interesting about the aspect of girls. The Sport England had identified the issue about girls being involved in sport, particularly those who are sports enthusiasts, and what are the issues around that, in terms of how to deal with that, and making sure you can get them to come back the next day, or more importantly, have a longevity in the sport, even when you're finished with them or they're finished with you in terms of your time together. You've given them that holistic development to understand, more importantly, appreciate the importance of sport, maybe turn into health and fitness and lifestyle as they become older. So important aspects, from a coaching perspective. I put this up. This is my angry slide. You find a lot of strategy stuff there from New Zealand, from Sport England. I just thought it was, it's all very glossy, and it does obviously give you a lot of thought. But I took this from certain coaches, all right, and questioned what you seen in the last 2 slides about strategy, empowering strategy, or simply ownership. And it's one of the things as a coach that I feel that makes it easier to coach if there's an understanding of ownership. if they're in your environment, bringing their boots, being on time, having good training etiquette, paying attention, being respectful. And what I did do is I took certain slides from things that I think stood out that I, as a coach, would like to see more of, or what I look for from an athlete, regardless of what level they're at. Alright, so one of them is 10 disciplines for an athlete. One of them's written by I think it's James Lee thinks it's a swim coach. I love this one about the 10 to increase your talent. I hate the word talent. I love the word ability, but I don't like the word talent, because I think you need to have some of those aspects in place there in order to actually nurture and, more importantly, improve that talent, because your talent will get you so far. This is taken from this guy McGraw. Puts a lot of stuff on Twitter. Alright, we talk about choices. I've seen myself with a holistic development, not trying to be autocratic with some of the decisions I make, but trying to be more diplomatic and trying to make them aware and heighten their awareness to improve their ownership and give them the choice. And I thought this is very, very good in terms of, how much responsibility are they taking as athletes? At what point do we try to encourage them, teach them, force them to take ownership of making the right choices at different times? And if you did go through this with a lot of your athletes, I guarantee you, they'd be looking at you as if you had 5 heads. Again, it goes back to probably the sports enthusiast in it, but probably not the other 5 personalities, because they're probably too busy. I put this down here. It's Brew's rules. That's a guy called Robin Brew. He swam in the Olympics. He's actually a coaching hero of mine. He made the Olympics. He's been Commonwealth champion, European champion. He was 4th in the Olympics in '84, and I got the opportunity to meet him on a coaching course back in 2001. When I was doing my level 4 over in England, and it was just bizarre the way we met. But this is something that he has at Kelly College. Now you think of Kelly College as one of those prestige like Millfield. It's like probably like Methody and RBAI multiplied by 5 is one of these boarding school setups, but they've got a high performance swimming setup, and it was just something that he had put on the board, and he kept on the board in terms of what he felt was necessary for an athlete who came into his program. No matter what type of person, or male, female, personality wise, this is what he felt that they needed to have as part of their competency skills as athletes, and more importantly as young people. We talk about being passionate, eat, breathe, eat, breathe, live, for your sport, I think, or for your goals. And there are no excuses, only choices, no body piercings. Fast means quicker than your competitors. Tough on the put in your own word in there, up. If the legs are screaming, the legs are screaming, tighten up and use your arms or something. If no change, refer to rule 5. If your arms are screaming, tighten up and use your legs more. You alright? If no change, refer to 5. Okay, and then the last one is fit in or off. Alright, so very, very simple. You don't see any of this. Alright, you don't see any of this, okay, in those strategy documents, alright, but this is for me very, very relevant as coaches. Alright, we're looking for simple things. Yes, the strategy aspects certainly does help, alright, but also looking at the choices that you have, the demands you have as a coach, and what you convey with the athletes, but more importantly the choices then they have to make. And you find a lot of times they don't make the right choices because they've always got another reason, another excuse. And I just thought this was great stuff in terms of comparing the strategy, but more importantly, should we be teaching ownership? And again, it goes back to the holistic development in terms of giving you direction as a coach, never mind the athletes. This was a framework. We can refer back to Sophie Jollet. Okay, basically looked at a framework in terms of the relationship between the coach and athlete, and all the different aspects between outcome, relationship, and knowledge. and it was just one of the quotes from the framework